This is Grapplers Talk.
What is up, fans of Grapplers Talk? This is Dave coming at you with another episode each and every week. Thank you to the fans for downloading, listening, and tuning into the podcast. We really appreciate all the love and support we get out there. And this episode is sponsored to you guys by Spar Bar After Training Soap. Go check them out on their website. If you type in Grapplers Talk, you'll get 10% off of your order. Amazing product. I love using their product. It's been helping keep me clean, keep me sanitized, and I love the product. We're also sponsored by Butterfly X. Go check them out on their website, BFX Gear, on Instagram. If you type in code Grapplers Talk 10, you'll get 10% off of your order over there. So go check it out. Tune in, support those local companies. They're great people out there, great friends of the show. But I'm excited to have a guest on the podcast this week. We got linked up through the Arte Suave team, and you got a big match coming up. We'll get talking about here. But I'm joined by none other than Eric Castro. Man, how you doing, buddy?
Good, dude. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm a nerd when it comes to martial arts. I say it a lot on the show, and I'm really into hearing like the root stories and how people discover jujitsu. Like it doesn't just fall into your life. It somehow, some way, it connects. So, how did you find jujitsu? What was the beginning days like?
So I think I was must have been like 15 or 16 when I first started training, and then I took like a 10-year break. But it was actually, I started training with Fungia. So I got my blue belt through Fungia. This was like back in 2008. So this is like pretty much Bill's like first year's black belt. So
Yeah.
so he was like my first idol, actually. Kind of funny, kid coming up. And I think that year was like Krone's first year at the Worlds too. And
Wow.
Crone got tapped out by Sergio Moraes first round, and then Bill,
Yeah.
took him on in the finals, and then he lost by points, but that was pretty sick to watch. But pretty much,
Yeah.
so I had some. My brother introduced me to jujitsu. At the time he was probably a blue or purple belt. I was just like a troublemaker kid kind of thing. Some things happened in the family, and then he introduced me to jujitsu. I think the first gym I ever stepped foot into right before Paragon was Hickson's. So this was off Wilshire. So like there was like Crone was a purple belt, like Kevin Casey, Eric Sodenberg, Curtis Vega, Henry Atkins. They're all there. It was pretty cool. But I didn't know anything. I was just a new guy, just kind of straight training out like little kid. And so I think I did that for a while, and then
How old were you?
like around 15. So I was like, I think
15?
yeah. So 2 years, I think right before I graduated at 17, I kind of actually, I was living with my brother because I was like in the foster system. So at that point, my brother was like my main
Guardian.
guardian.
Yeah.
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 And so, I was getting older, and then, it's either go to school or like, kind of get a job kind of thing. So, I got a job and moved out, and then, I just started partying, and jujitsu kind of fell off for me.
Yeah.
And was stuck in that rut for a while. And then, dude, I didn't start training till like a little bit before COVID again. So
Wow.
I
Yeah.
came back, and then to do that, which sucks too, because Sean Conley, he was like another black belt from Paragon that came to open up a school here in Santa Clarita. I was kind of helping him out at the time. I wish kind of stuck to it back then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I got a lot of love for the Paragon family. They really taught me a lot over there, And
Yeah.
so then, took a 10-year hiatus from there. So right before COVID, I think I was just or it's been a couple years, but I was like a couple years out of rehab kind of thing. And then I just remember trying to like figure out when like I felt more like I guess like just happier, someone that was like more like stoked to be, you know what I mean? Just felt like I was
Yeah.
in another rut. So I looked up just, for some reason I didn't want to do gi anymore. Like I just remember, I don't know why, I just did not want to do gi. I didn't want to go through all that again. And then I stopped into, at that time, I was living in North Hollywood out here in California. So I stopped into 10th Planet Burbank. So that's where I first met Jimmy, so the owner of Palmdale here. And it was cool, man. He like got me all stoked, made me feel like part of the team. Like it almost felt like I never left jujitsu. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like it was really cool to be there. And then I was training there for a little bit. You know, I guess they just honored the blue belt, but even though I felt like I was like a white belt again or whatever. But um, so did that, and then COVID happened, and then Jimmy told me to go check out Pasadena. So that's kind of where I made my way through the ranks over there. So under like Eric Cruz, so Capella and Ramey. So I went through there and I went purple, brown, and then eventually got my black at Pasadena. And then recently came back to live in Santa Clarita, and then now I'm just coaching out of Palmdale and training out of Palmdale. It's like all little different things,
Yeah.
like Burbank made me like kind of, or like Jimmy specifically kind of made me fall in love with jujitsu again. Go to Pasadena, fell in love with like the technique aspect because Compella kind of showed me like uh, using your imagination. You know what I mean? Like being creative in your jiu-jitsu with the whole rubber guard, like OG 10 planet system. Raimi was more like, what people call cutting edge now with like the leg locks and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And that was
Yeah.
really technical. So I got best of both worlds there. I was like learning how to be creative with Compella and using like the OG rubber guard, lockdown, all that stuff. And then Raimi was teaching me how to like chain things together, maybe upper body, lower body, leg locks, all that kind of stuff. And then now at Palmdale, it's like Jimmy got me back into like the competing aspect again, like just getting back because everyone at Palmdale, I mean, all those guys or all the young cats are just like they're just scrapping there.
Oh yeah, they're ready to go, right?
Yeah, so it's a little different vibe. So everyone's just like kind of scrapping. So that's kind of got me more in the vibe of like, all right, technique doesn't gotta be perfect, but as long as you have like a route to not maybe not victory, but a route, like a goal you want to do, you got to just by any
Right.
means possible kind of make it happen, So it's like everywhere I've been is like a little bit of like a different nuance, It's like a different love
Right.
grows again, At that time I was like kind of just chilling. I'd compete sometimes, but I hated competing because I just always get nervous, you know what I mean? And then now it's like, just go out there, dude, just have fun, like. And when they told
Right.
me the bill, I was stoked because it was like, like what other sport can you go against someone that was like, like top of the game
Yeah.
forever? You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna go out and go play basketball with like LeBron or someone like that. You know what I mean? But in jiu-jitsu, you
Yeah.
can go to a trials and compete with like the top 10 people in the world. So it's chill in
Right.
that aspect. So
We
I'm
got to
excited.
see a while back the Hillbilly Hammer got an opportunity to go up against Gordon Ryan, and sometimes those things happen in this world of jiu-jitsu where, like you said, in other sports that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I just feel like I just got the luck of the draw. Like I get to compete against Bill. Like I got no accolades. I got nothing, dude. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm just here having a good time. And I was like, yeah, sure, dude. Let's do it.
Yeah,
The only
for
accolade
sure,
I
man.
like been in the training room with him before, like, but as a kid, not anytime
Right.
now. But just cool.
So,
Dude. Like I was just so stoked that it was like he was
so
definitely.
talking about that, so you're going up. It's from the day we're recording this. It's about a week away from your big match. Now going against somebody you've idolized before and having a big super fight with them, like what is your preparation like? I know you said you're just trying to relax and have fun with it, but what is kind of a strategy point? Like, what do you want to do up against a competitor that experienced?
I mean, I don't think I want to surprise him with anything, So I feel like the only thing that would be maybe a little different is just like maybe going to the legs or something like that. But mainly what I'm really trying to focus on is just staying relaxed. You know what I mean? I feel like if anything, there's no real pressure on me. You know what I mean? I'm like kind of there as uh like a tune-up fight for him or something. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel. But whatever. Like it's fun. It's like it doesn't really matter to me. I'm just going out there and enjoy the experience. And yeah, I don't think I want to surprise him with anything, dude. I think he'll be game for anything and just.
The interesting thing, though, is the 10th planet system has a lot of surprises in it. And there's different things. We see guys like Chris Vickers catching people in the dead orchards. And there are some 10th planet things that, even the best of the best jujitsu guys get caught in from time to time
Yeah,
in the system, right?
for sure, most definitely.
Yeah.
I hate when it
What
happens.
What is it? What is it that draws you to the 10th planet system? I know being in Southern California, I'm in Northern California, and I've been to Southern California. It seems like you type in jujitsu on Google Maps, and there's 110th planet places around. Is it the ability to have a gym pretty much everywhere you go, or is it the people or the training environment that
Honestly,
draws you
man,
more?
for me, when it was like because of like the gi background I had when I was a kid, back then, dude, it was very political. It's so
Yeah.
political, like, create this, create that, it was just going
Hmm.
wild. So when I first came into it, when we came up, like 10 Planet was always like just a chill gym, just like be you, just like a kind of like the outcast kind of thing. And so when I first came back, I was like, man, I don't want to be a part of any like, I just didn't want to deal with politics. I just wanted to go train, have a good time, and get better. That's all I wanted. All I cared about was
Yeah.
training as much as I can, And I mean, I did that since COVID. I mean, it was like 2, 3 sessions a day every day. Like pretty much always. I mean, the last 2 years have been a little less just with work. I mean, with HVAC and just changing. You have to make some money. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
but it's not as much anymore. But at the time, my thought process was one. I was like. I just don't want to wear the gi and I don't want to be part of politics. So I just went to a 10 Planet gym just because from what I remembered, it was just like a chill gym. All love, let's just train. And then, to my surprise, it changed a lot, because back then it also was like maybe not known so much for like fundamentals, you know what I mean? Something like that. But I
Yeah.
think as jujitsu grows, I mean, people are getting good within years now, you know what I mean? Getting good
Yeah.
quick, and so it was a great choice, man. Been
Yeah.
very happy.
Yeah, I started in '05, and you said it yourself. It was very political back then, and I remember the guys starting to buy the 10th Planet books and talking about it in the gym. And I remember Eddie Bravo would get some articles in Grappling magazine back in the day where they'd reveal a little bit of the 10th Planet shit. And I was always a gi guy, but something about it, it's gotten better and better and better over the years to where now these guys are doing some pretty miraculous things at like blue belt and
Oh, for
even white
sure.
belt 10th Planet
You see
guys
these
are
kids, dude. I mean, you see the
yeah.
NBA kids bearing bowling till their life gives out. I mean, all kids are doing great out there, but it's like crazy to
Yeah.
see how far jiu-jitsu's evolved. And even to think, like I tell a lot of people, when MMA specifically, when jiu-jitsu started, it was like all hail jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? But as it's progressed, like maybe wrestling's taken over that aspect. But I mean, in my eyes, jiu-jitsu is still like the most uh, amateur sport, and like it's the newest sport out of all of them. You know what I mean? So I think it's
Right.
time till jiu-jitsu evolves into more of an MMA aspect and maybe conquer MMA world again.
Yeah. No,
Just my
I
opinion. No, I don't know.
I hope so. With the rise of the UFC now having their own grappling organization and CJI being what it is and giving out $1 million cash prizes, I don't see why these UFC guys aren't out doing tune-up matches, in these jujitsu runs to get cash or whatever. They got to do something to stay active, and it's a good way to be out there in the competition scene. So now I believe jiu-jitsu will become a eventual sport that is covered by ESPN, like it's only a matter of time at this point, especially with the amount of money that the UFC is putting into it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that'd be badass. That'd be very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild, man. So talk to me about what the preparation has been like preparing for Bill, and what have your training sessions been like? How often are you training? Are you doing a little bit more live rounds or anything like that going into the match, or just kind of taking it easy, doing your thing and keeping cool, calm, and collected?
No, so just same thing, training every day, maybe twice if I can. But like situational rounds, I know like Bill likes Darcis and stuff, so maybe sitting up from there, front headlock situations, a lot of situational training. And
Yeah.
then, and then 10-minute goes to fill the 10-minute rounds, and then try to push the pace, maybe not the pace I'll play, but just trying to push it and get comfortable there. But definitely more just situational stuff, just because I know he's got a killer Darce on him. He loves his flying guillotine. You know what I mean? So I just
Yeah.
kind of he's just trying to think of the stuff that he would do. But mainly, man, I'm just training it like another, like just going to an open mat. Like I'm just trying to have a good time out there. I'm gonna go to slow. I've never been to slow before. cool
Okay.
town, I hear. So
Yeah, it's
just
beautiful, man.
enjoy it.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. You're going into hostile territory though. Paragon runs that area of
Yeah.
California, man. I was there recently for work and my God, I couldn't find any gym but a Paragon gym, it seemed
Yeah.
like. So you definitely are going to enemy territory to put it all on the line, but that's what it's about. And, challenging yourself, testing yourself. That's what jujitsu is about. Finding out like where you stand and going up against people that you've idolized and looked up to and trained with before. Like that's literally what it's all about. And being able to be buddies afterwards, shake hands, be friends. That's
No,
the
100%. And I
whole
think,
martial art.
yeah, and we have I guess a common friend, but someone that we had trained with. He was a professor out here in Santa Clarita. That just passed away, Charlie. He was a black belt from Paragon. So, I'm
Yeah.
also happy to, go out there and just kind of like show love to Charlie too.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a great experience. Now, have you ever competed for the Arte Suave organization before?
No, never, never.
How do you feel about the rule set going into it? They're pretty lenient on like how the rules go as far as leg locks in the gi are allowed, and they pretty much at black belt all submissions are legal, and the point structure is deep submissions is how you have to win the match, or submission attempts and submission only. How do you feel about the rule set going into it, and is this a common rule set that you've competed under?
Yeah, I like this rule set a lot more than most, but just I prefer the longer rounds, so I like 10 minutes or more. Um, I like the how they give points, just for more entertaining, right? People going for submissions and stuff like that. So I love the rule set. It should be fun. Like that's.
Yeah.
I just hate like short rounds, points.
Yeah, no, so I watched a match a while back, and there was a there was some sort of foul or something happened, and they paused the match for a while, and I don't think they ever paused the clock. And the next thing you know, they go to reset, and they're like, "Ding, it's over!" Like, what happened?
Yeah.
So, that's unfortunate when that happens. But having a long match to be able to, actually in black belt, you really need the time to be able to, you know, feel each other out, have that moment, but then be able to actually set up what you got to do.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely be a chess match out there. So you just gotta, yeah, feel it out, man. Just swing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just feel like, Phil's just kind of crazy. So I feel like,
Yeah.
you just gotta, kind of like where you get in, you fit in. So hopefully I see opening and just try to go for it.
Yeah, capitalize on it. How
Yeah.
often do you compete?
I haven't competed in a long time. I think the last time I competed was like 3 years ago. Um, yeah, it's been a minute.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
But
it's all
just
good though.
yeah, like I said, I just got back over here to Palmdale and training with these young guys. Kind of, they're like, "Hey, you should do this Arte Suave." We're all doing, super fights, and Jimmy's leading the gang. He's doing his super fight as well, and a couple of the other cats. And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
just so, like I said, just right place, right time. Just so happened to be Bill, and I was like, "All right, dude, I'm down."
Yeah, funny story about Bill is just not that long ago, maybe a couple years ago, I almost went to a seminar he was teaching at Cave Academy, I believe it was, out in San Francisco area, but I didn't end up making it. But man, I was so close. I was looking into it, and I really wanted to go out there and check him out. And at the time, I didn't know too much about him. I didn't cover it from that area, and I started doing a deep dive, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I should have went to this seminar."
It was just sick, man. Him and Jeff, dude. There was like the first like. I mean, I'm not gonna, they were just the first two beach guys that were doing crazy shit. You know what I mean? Even their
Yeah.
exhibition matches when they'd close out divisions, it'd look crazy. They'd be flowing, but it'd be like the craziest shit you've ever seen.
Yeah, dude, I think back to those matches. Jeff was just a stud, man. He doing crazy stuff out there with world champions like Kyotera, and just
That was the
he's
peak. Like they'd be on like Jiu-Jitsu Pro Gear forums and they'd be like talking shit and like it was just funny. I
yeah,
wasn't on those, but I remember my brother was on them and he'd like be telling me about it and like, it was funny.
yeah. those forums were wild back in the day, dude. There was a lot of little websites and stuff like that where people would get on those forums and talk a lot of shit.
Dude,
I know
yeah,
Gracie Fighter had one for a while, and
yeah,
people would get on there.
you remember Mark Lehman?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Jiu-jitsu, he would show the jiu-jitsu in the UFC, right? Like he'd demonstrate a move.
he was out in Las Vegas. He used to own Cobra Kai. I don't really remember
Yeah.
what he's up to now, but he was like another smart guy. Like like I don't know, maybe I should tell the story, but like
Let's hear it. Let's hear
yeah.
it.
So like he was like they used to like talk shit, and I remember like this is I didn't train here anymore, but I remember like Kevin Casey, like they like went trying to find fucking Mark Lehman at a jiu-jitsu tournament, and they're all beefing and stuff. It was just funny. It was just like the old school.
Yeah.
It was just hilarious.
Yeah, man. It was wild. I remember the Ultimate Fighter where Matt Serra like punked him. He was coaching
Oh,
jujitsu
that's
on the
right. Yes,
opposite
yes,
team, and
yes.
Matt Serra's like, "Dude, you're soft, bro. You're not a real one," and just basically kicked him out of the gym. So, yeah, dude, it was a different world back
It was
then,
different,
dude.
man. It wasn't all love. Oh, you did jiu-jitsu, all love. It was definitely
When
it
do
was
you think
definitely
that
fun.
changed?
I have no idea. Did it change when I got back? Everyone was just like, "Oh, you're a jiu-jitsu guy. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I feel like the top athletes are still like that. I mean, I think they have to though to be like top athletes. You know what I mean? They got to have a certain like swagger to them. Like they don't want to fucking my team's the best team. Kind of thing. I'm the best. Like you got to have that confidence to be
oh yeah,
the
in
best.
this thing. Yeah,
Yeah. Like oh my school. That's kind of cool. I mean, maybe he'll come back after CGI with the team duels.
yeah, yeah. I'm excited, dude. With CJI, with the UFC, the all the competition out there, pit fighting series. I think Craig Jones just did a karate combat thing. There's been a ton of different organizations popping up left and right, and then you think of all the local ones too, like Arte Suaves and Submission Pro Tours, and all the different ones out there. Man, it's never been a better time to be a jiu-jitsu athlete to find matches and find competition and find good training partners.
Yeah, that's what I tell the young cats. I was like, dude, this is the time. You can compete every weekend if you want. You know what I mean? And you get all that experience. Just like these wrestlers that come into the sport and they're just killing it, right? Because they've been competing since
Yeah,
they've been kids. Well, now jujitsu kids could do the same thing. By the time they're teens, they've already have 100 competitions under their belt. It's just like an evolution.
right.
Because you see a lot of athletes go out there, and I've definitely done it in the past too. Where you compete at such a lower level than you are in the room or something, just from nerves or scared, judgment, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But
I'm I'm guilty of it as well, man. Like, your jujitsu isn't showing what it should because you don't have the competition experience, right?
yeah, it's different. It's like adrenaline's going in there. Just like training room adrenaline's different, competing adrenaline, and then like fight to the death. Let's say if you ever got in a fight in the streets, is going to be a lot different than
Oh
all
yeah.
that. So I mean, yeah, it's like a great time if you just go out there and once a month, even for the average person. I think it's just good to feel that. You know what I mean? Feel someone that's actually trying to hurt you. That isn't your friend in the room. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
just
Yeah, test the
different.
skills.
Test your skills, test your durability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like test the fight or flight. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't have to win all the time. Sometimes it's just about showing good jujitsu. You know what I mean? You go out there, you
100%.
look fucking killer. Maybe you lose, but as long as you're happy with your performance, that's all that matters.
I've been out to IBJJF competitions, and the people out there competing, like you look at them, and I mean, I see some of the competitors, they're, middle-aged people, and you would never think that they knew jujitsu, and they're out there
Yeah.
competing, and I'm like, man, that is what is so amazing about jujitsu, is because you could be from any walk of life. You don't have to have a certain body type for jujitsu. There's tall guys, there's short guys, there's pudgy guys, and there's skinny guys. So,
Yeah.
and girls. But
Pudgy King right here, baby.
but it doesn't matter. You can still go out there and sharpen those skills and put everything on the line and put your skills to the test. So, man, it's an amazing time. But we have a fun little game we like to play on the show, overrated or underappreciated. where we throw out some athletes, maybe some UFC fighters, and you tell us if you think they're overrated or if you think they're
I would say
underappreciated. Would you like
underrated,
to play?
dude. See.
Would you like to play?
Sure, let's play. Let's see.
All right. I'll start out with some easy ones to start off with. Overrated or underappreciated? Victor Hugo.
Underappreciated, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that he's one or two wins away from like some really, really big matches,
Oh, for
you
sure.
know.
I think he's got a killer guard. I mean, I think his guard gives Nicky Rod a lot of problems and stuff. And now they're training together, so he's only going to get better
Yeah.
from that. And once he learns how to use his guard and Nogi a lot better without it's going to be killer. I mean, that guy's
Yeah.
big mountain flow, dude. That guy's a killer for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Underappreciated,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Overrated, underappreciated, Kainan Darte. ADCC champion, just had a rough match though.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I always think, like, who am I? But then, like, he's just sometimes he's hot and cold. I mean, maybe underrated because people do think he's hot and cold like that. But I mean, when he's on, he's on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a very scary competitor when he's
Oh,
on,
yeah.
right?
I wouldn't want to be
Yeah.
in the same room as that guy, dude. No, for sure.
Overrated, underappreciated, an old school veteran, Wagner Rocha.
Oh shit. I mean, guy's a killer, dude. He's like, I don't even know how old he's in his 40s, killing it.
Yeah, maybe even close to
Underappreciated.
50.
Yeah, dude. And he's fucking mean, dude. So I think underappreciated for sure.
Was it just me or you that thought that, man, this ADCC run, like, dude, it was incredible, but like for the older guys, like this last ADCC run, like all the old dudes were just ripped and shredded, having amazing performances,
Dude, I
like,
want that anti-aging protocol, dude. I need to get on
yeah.
that, dude. Whatever program, dude.
So you thought the same thing I
Yeah.
thought, man.
I'll
It
pray.
was
I'll pray
something.
harder. I'll eat acai, do whatever it takes, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a Costco size order of acai and I'll
Yeah.
get down, right?
For sure. No, without him, Cyborg. I mean, dude, even Bill's compete against Cyborg and do great.
Right,
So
right. Yeah, Cyborg's just an animal, dude.
yeah,
Isn't it crazy though?
that guy, he's on the best anti-aging right there, dude.
Yeah, man. I remember Nick fighting him in Strike Force, and man, it was something else. Nick submitting Cyborg in Strike Force with an armbar too. That was what was even
Different,
more
dude.
wild about that.
I mean, a lot of jiu that's what I'm saying. Like, jiu-jitsu's so new. Like, a lot of the top athletes went to MMA. The best jiu-jitsu guys you could ever think of, and they had a tough outing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hodger, fucking Marcelo,
Andre Galval went to MMA too for a
about
while.
you. That's right. And it's just different, getting punched and stuff. But like I said, I think it'll eventually evolve where the top guys from jiu-jitsu will transfer over and still be top in there, just like wrestlers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Just think it's learning to adapt. You know what I mean? We're still, playing a lot of sport jiu-jitsu, I guess is what people call it nowadays, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think jiu-jitsu is brand like still new comparative to all the other sports, and I think sooner or later it'll become the top sport in MMA again. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
it could be so. Yeah.
How do we keep jujitsu from getting like watered down, like generations and generations down?
Dude,
Like
I
after
got
you and
a
I are both gone,
yeah, dude, I have a big opinion on this. Um, dude, like I think jiu-jitsu is a skill-based sport, right? Like, so I don't like the loyalty thing. Like, you're paying someone a monthly membership all the time. Like, that doesn't mean you get to get promoted to like blue or purple with them just because, or like let's just say blue belt in a year because you've been paying me money for a year. Like, you're paying me a service or whoever the service. But it's
Yeah.
all skill. So if you're not getting the skill in a year, okay, it's 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter how long it is. I think that's what
100%.
made it be beautiful. You know what I mean? And but now it's, and I get people need to make money and stuff like that. So it's kind of become like just people paying for belts kind of thing. And I don't hate to say that because I don't know who's doing it, but it's like it's not about jiu-jitsu belt ranks isn't necessarily about loyalty or who you're paying because Danaher said it best. You want a black belt? It's the easiest thing you can get, right? Just show
Yeah.
up every day and you'll get it. You know what I mean? That's like theoretically, right? but
Yeah.
skill's hard, instead of valuing the belts, maybe value your skill a little bit better. I think that's how we prolong it. And I mean, the one school that I see that's killing it, dude, and I don't know what their motto is, but they just seem to have like generations of athletes all the time. The kids go to like become world champions, become teen world champions, and like adult world champions, AOJ, and they have
Yeah.
a huge school. So whatever they're doing, that's a great way to keep longevity because everyone's like alumni.
Yeah.
It's like college, it's like a university, and I mean, like, oh, like I'm a Berkeley alumni, whatever it is, but it's like now it's like
Yeah.
AOJ, your dad goes, their kid, your son, keep the list goes on. And I mean, AOJ is
Yeah.
still a program for that.
I'm glad you brought them up. I was kind of I was watching some videos last week about AOJ, and man, just everything about the way they run their entire program is so disciplined. And I mean, you look at all those white gis in the room, and no one's got some dingy white gis on, they all got
Yeah.
these beautiful white gis.
They got a uniform, they got uniform. I know people hate on uniforms and all that stuff, but I don't know. Like I think there's some merit to it, you know what I mean? Everyone looks to
Yeah.
see maybe he's professional. Like, Gordon goes on his rant sometimes, but Gordon's kind of saying like, his school's doing the same thing, right? Like he's kind of have the dress code over there. I saw him
Right.
post and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like a frat school, say, where and some people take it like, oh, you don't get to show off, creativity or whatever and stuff like that. But you do that or at other schools or whatever. But there's something to that professionalism. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
know what about it? Like the rash guard stuff never really bothered me. I mean, if you came up in the gi, it was either white or blue. I mean,
Yeah.
back then we weren't even allowed
White.
to get black. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Now it's kind of changed.
Yeah.
I think the only person, I mean, back then, I don't know if it was Mike Fowler or not Fowler, the cheetah print head. Forgot his name.
I can't think of it right off the top.
He had a school in Guam and stuff. I forgot, but that guy was cool. And I think he
Yeah.
was one of the first people I saw with the black gi. But I mean, it was just different. So
Yeah. You see the team at AOJ too, they're always carrying like around an iPad. I don't know if it's for attendance or if it's for class structure or if he's got like outline courses he's hitting on or dude, it's
I dude,
just
I mean that they're all. I mean that school is very professional. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a whole year of like for the general. He has his professional
yeah.
athletes where he probably like they're coaches. Those guys are there
Yeah.
for all the professional athletes. I'm sure he studies all the opponents, gives them pointers. I mean the Mendes brothers. I mean those guys were also idols. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nobody better than to study out someone else's game than them.
Right.
And that's the other thing about having good coaches where they don't compete anymore and they're just focused on being your coach and they have experience and stuff. So it's easy to just train and put all your trust into someone and tell you kind of what to do. So maybe that's
Right.
secret sauce is whatever that what's ever in that iPad. But
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
sure
I'd
there's
like to
definitely
get a
some
hold of
structure
it.
to it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
very professional school, in my opinion. I think probably the most
Yeah.
professional at this point, just how they built it. So
Right.
none.
Over or under on if you think Gordon Ryan will ever come back.
If he ever will come back, oh, I don't think he's coming back.
Ever.
No, I think he's probably just focusing on his health and he's got the school now. He's probably just transitioning into his coaching era right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It seems like with Kingsway opening up and a lot of changes are going to be going on, at least from the competition standpoint. But yeah,
yeah, I was
I
stoked too because
mean,
I mean I was trust me, I was a big fucking Gordon fan too, dude. He was like that. I honestly like when I wasn't like for those 10 years I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu. I was like, oh, who's this Gordon guy? Like you'd see him like he was blowing up, whatever. Because I pop in sometimes, dude. I just like to see what was up. I was like thinking about it, never went back, but then whatever, I finally did. But yeah, man, I think Gordon. Yeah, I was like drinking the Kool-Aid, dude. I was like, yeah, this guy's gonna show everybody. He's gonna compete in well into his 40s, like all the old guys, and he's gonna be winning all the time. You know what I mean? Because jiu-jitsu wasn't like, like he says, it's not like super athletic or anything. It's just like very methodical. His timing, his precision, just everything. It's just, I mean, dude, there's nobody
yeah.
that's technically better than him, dude. No way. There's not.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
no way. Not yet. Yeah, there will
Yeah.
be for sure.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure, I mean, as anybody would want, they should want that. You know what I mean? Because it's how
Yeah.
progress too.
Dude, I think of like, I was always a UFC fan. I think of like the runs that we saw from like guys like George St. Pierre. And if you're talking about even older school time, like Matt Hughes, even, just going on these tears, just no one can touch him. Even Anderson Silva, for the longest time, people didn't even watch his fights because they knew like it wasn't even competitive.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people were even saying he was a boring fighter because it was just you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of what's happened with Gordon in a sense, right? He's walked through everyone pretty much with ease.
Yeah. I feel like he's got the Mayweather effect where like people aren't bored, they just want him to lose so bad now. Like,
Right.
he's won so much, they just want him to lose. And maybe it's not like super exciting, but like if you for like maybe this one that doesn't do jujitsu, but when you do jujitsu and you just see this guy dominate this guy, just hold someone there that's like, you know, top 10 in the world or something, you're just like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
But
No, it's
yeah, I mean,
and
it's sure tough. And Nicky Rod broke his ankle and stuff, and got him in. Well, I mean, technically the clock went out, but those were close matches, But
I'm like, okay, yeah, the match with in the UFC rule set with Nicky Rod, that was a closer one, but in ADCC, I don't think it was that
oh no,
close.
that was so quick. It was like they just
Yeah, it wasn't even a
Nicky Rod took
challenge
the
for
bait.
Gordon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he fell, went into the legs,
yep,
tapped him quick.
yeah, and he walked through everybody like that year in ADCC.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, you look at all of his matches, and dude, he barely broke a sweat in the entire
yeah,
competition.
he was on it, dude. I remember
Yeah,
sitting there and I was just watching him and Gavala did the stare off. There's like two fucking just giants. They look so big from the standstill. I don't know if it was like an illusion, but
yeah,
it looked huge, dude. They're
yeah,
fucking huge. And I was like, damn, dude. But yeah, that was a
yeah.
good outing for him. But everyone's gonna hate on Gordon. It's just, not. I guess he brought it on himself. Just who he is, and how he uh, did his thing. But brought a lot
He's
of
not
eyes on him.
everyone's cup of tea. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
but and then his last outings, he was sick. He posted about it, with Philippe, and he won and stuff. But you know, it wasn't, it wasn't as dominant as people used to see him. So they're like, oh, he fell off. People just love to hate. But I mean,
Yeah.
Gordon goes out there and he makes it happen. And that's what champions do, right? Like you go out there, you get hurt, you figure it out, and you just make it happen.
Yeah, you always get those people just rooting for you to fail, and anybody can be that person, but to overcome all that and to keep giving everyone the middle finger time after time, like, hey, all you people want me to fail, good luck, because it ain't
He
gonna
loves it,
happen.
dude. He loves it, bro. Like you can tell,
Yeah.
he loves it. He loves the hate. He's fucking
The people that can embrace being the heel character, they do well with it, right?
sure. He loves it, dude. He's gonna do good, dude. His school's
Yeah.
gonna do great. I mean, that guy's I don't know what he's charging. Like his pre-sales are like what 350 a month.
Yeah, no, it's got to be insane, dude. But
So he's
I
gonna be
tell you
good,
what,
dude.
like
That's what I'm saying. Like
he's already out of memberships, right? Like, I mean, they
yeah, he
had to
already sold
close
out the first
down.
whatever 200 or whatever at like 350 a month. That was his pre-sales. So
Yeah, that's wild.
good for him, dude.
Yeah,
He's one of the
that's
few, but it's like good. He deserves it. You know what I mean? He had that sport on his back for a while, but now we have a bunch of killers coming up that are exciting.
right. It's only gonna be better for the sport all around,
For sure.
I
He's going to
think.
produce more killer guys, and they're going to go out there, and it's just going to
Yep,
slowly
build and
progress.
build.
I mean, they just need a
That's
more fucking, tack it and retold matches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Those matches were fantastic, man. Having, it looks like Andrew's on that UFC reality show. I'm excited to see what he has in store for that thing. I don't even know what the show's all about yet. I don't have enough information. It looks to me kind of like the Ultimate Fighter,
It'd be funny,
but
do they just
maybe
get drunk and then fight each other just like the Ultimate Fighter?
they throw them all in
Because
a house,
jujitsu's kind of
right?
got that nerd aspect to it, so it'd be funny to see these guys go off the rails a little bit and just see what happens.
Guys like Mikey in there yelling and getting
Yeah,
pissed off, right?
yeah, having too many shots, talking about pizza and stuff or something. I don't know.
Who would you say is your favorite jiu-jitsu competitor out there active?
Active. I mean, I like Levi a lot right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like Levi a lot.
What is it about you like his guard game
Yeah, I love the
specifically?
guard game, dude. I really like the guard game. But I think it's more like jujitsu nerd kind of esque thing. But for the general, I guess the general pop or something like that, it would be like like Andrew Tackett or any of the Tackett brothers. I mean, they both kill it, or the Rotolo bros, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Those are-
yeah. I don't think there's anybody out there that wants to see those guys lose. Everyone's a fan
Dude,
of those
can't lose
Rotolos.
against them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, man. Man, it's been awesome chatting with you, getting to catch up and getting to know a little bit more about you. And I'm excited to see you at Arte Suave. I'm going to be in the area, be covering the event as well. I'm going to hook you up with a care package from our team over at Spar Bar Soap. So come find me. I'll find you. We'll meet up and we'll give you some love. But thank you again for being a part of this episode. If people want to train with you, how do they get in touch with you or how do they find you?
dude, just shoot me a DM on Instagram or whatever. I pretty much go anywhere within reason. So like LA kind of, I like
Yeah.
to train up in Pasadena. I like to go see like, where I got my black belt from. I like to go up there and say what's up to Campella, train over there. I like going to Thousand Oaks. So pretty much 10 Planet Pasadena, Thousand Oaks or Palmdale. But usually I'm in Palmdale every day. So that's where if you want to catch me, go over there at 11 a.m. or something. I'll probably be there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Go out and support him. He's going to be going up against a legend this next weekend, Bill the Grill Cooper. We're excited for you, man. We're rooting for you. But thank you again for being a part of this episode. I just always like to give our guests a couple minutes just for any shout outs for friends or family or anybody that you like. But just take a couple minutes. The floor is yours.
Oh man, just everybody that's been a part of the journey, I guess. So, Campella, Ramey, Jimmy, and then shout out, to Charlie from Paragon, just passed away
Yeah.
um, recently. So, you know, it's just all love over here. Pretty
Yeah.
much, there's a lot of people in my life that's helped me. So, couldn't do it with a lot of people. So there's too many people to name. But jiu-jitsu wise, for sure, like just those schools would be sick. Just give
Yeah.
love to, all those guys. Fungia, Bill, Jeff, Charlie, even Sean Conley, my bro, and then everyone from 10th Planet, Ramey, Campella, and Jimmy, dude.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
man. It's been awesome chatting with you, Eric. We appreciate you being a part of this episode of Grapplers Talk. Download us each and every week. We're available on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and other platforms out there where you get podcasts. Again, this episode is sponsored to you by Spar Bar Soap and Butterfly X. Go type in our code word at Butterfly X, Grapplers Talk 10. You'll get 10% off of your order. But this has been another amazing episode of Grapplers Talk. This is Dave, and we are out.
This is Grapplers Talk.